8 compliments that make women fall for you. Old Stoic wisdom. The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. Shall swing Marcus Aurelius. If you knew that a single sentence, a well-crafted phrase, could stir something deep in her, linger in her mind, and make her think of you long after you've left the room, would you still settle for tossing out lazy compliments like, "You're hot," or "Nice dress," "Welcome, gentlemen"? Most men underestimate the impact of their words. They've been sold the idea that attraction is earned through wealth, looks, or status. But the truth, timeless and unshakable, is this. The way you make her feel is what leaves a lasting mark. And one of the most overlooked tools in your arsenal? A meaningful, intentional compliment. Think about it. Have you ever witnessed a woman's entire demeanour shift, her eyes light up, her posture change, because of something a man said? One sentence, when it's thoughtful and authentic, can change how she sees you. Not just for the moment, but possibly forever. Today, we're diving into 8 powerful compliments. Not the kind you throw around like spare change, but ones rooted in perception, presence, and purpose. These are compliments built on emotional awareness, respect, and the kind of masculine strength that speaks without shouting. Forget the clichés. Lines like, "You're cute," or "That outfit looks great on you," might be polite, but they don't separate you from the crowd. In fact, they blend you right into the noise of every other man who doesn't understand real influence. But when you speak from a place of grounded confidence, when your words come from self-mastery, from truly seeing her, you activate something deeper. Stoicism teaches us that control over the self leads to mastery over circumstances. That includes how you connect with others. This isn't about manipulation. It's about showing up with clarity, intention, and respect. It's about leaving her with a compliment that doesn't just make her smile, but makes her feel understood. So if you're ready to elevate how you communicate, how you connect, and how you're remembered, stay tuned. And if building deeper, more meaningful relationships through timeless wisdom appeals to you, hit that subscribe button. Every video is another step in mastering your mindset and in becoming the kind of man who truly stands apart. Compliment 1. That fragrance you're wearing is addictive. It smells amazing. This isn't just a compliment. It's a doorway into something deeper, something most men never even think to open. Fragrance, while often overlooked, holds immense power in the realm of attraction. And when you acknowledge a woman's scent, you're tapping into one of the most ancient and instinctive parts of human psychology. Scent is tied directly to the limbic system, the emotional and memory center of the brain. This is why a single whiff of a certain perfume can instantly bring you back to a childhood memory, a first kiss, or a night that changed your life. So when you tell her her fragrance is addictive, you're not just saying she smells good, you're telling her that she leaves an imprint, that her presence lingers long after she's gone. In a world full of generic compliments like, "You look nice," or "That dress is cute," noticing her scent shows that you're paying attention to details that truly matter. You're saying, "I see you," not just visually, but energetically, emotionally, and that makes you unforgettable. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes your silent ally. The Stoic man, as taught by Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, does not waste words. He speaks with intent, understanding that language is a reflection of thought and character. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be, Marcus Aurelius once said. Be one. So when you deliver a compliment, it should be with the quiet power of presence, not with the noise of neediness. When you say, "That fragrance is addictive," say it like a man grounded in self-worth, not trying to impress but simply sharing what he genuinely feels. That's the kind of energy that captivates, not because you're trying to seduce, but because you're real. In real life, this plays out in subtle, powerful ways. The woman you compliment this way won't just smile and say thank you, she'll remember. Every time she sprays that fragrance, she'll think of you. Not because you were flashy or overly charming, but because you made her feel seen in a way most men don't. That is psychological attraction rooted in authenticity. And the beautiful part? This kind of attentiveness, this kind of depth, can be cultivated. It starts with being fully present in your interactions. Start noticing the small things, the tone in her voice when she's excited, the way her eyes light up when she talks about something she loves, and yes, the fragrance she wears. Let your compliments be reflections of your awareness, not tools of persuasion. So next time you're with her, take a deep breath, not just of her perfume, but of the moment itself. Speak from that place. And if you've ever had a scent trigger, a vivid memory, share it in the comments below. What was it? Who did it remind you of? These are the little threads that tie us all together, and they might just teach you more about attraction than 1,000 pickup lines ever could. Compliment number 2. Your smile could brighten up an entire room. Your smile could brighten up an entire room. Might sound simple, but in truth, it holds a rare kind of power that most men completely overlook. See, this isn't just about teeth or lips or the typical idea of attractiveness. It's about the effect a woman has when she walks into a space. Her smile is more than just a facial expression. It's an emotional frequency, a silent wave of warmth that can shift the energy in a room without a word. If you've ever been in a tense environment, a boardroom, a family gathering, a crowded party, and then someone walks in with a genuine, radiant smile, you've felt it. The atmosphere changes. Tension eases. People breathe a little easier. That's not a coincidence. That's presence. That's influence. And when you, as a man, pause long enough to really see that and say to her, your smile could brighten up an entire room, you're not tossing out a random compliment. You're offering a reflection of her impact, her essence, and most importantly, her unseen strength. This is where the average man and the emotionally attuned man part ways. Most guys will stop at, you're pretty, or nice smile, without ever considering what that smile does. But the man who chooses to live with intention, a man guided by Stoic wisdom, sees deeper. He notices not just the woman's beauty, but the shift she creates in others through something as seemingly simple as a smile. The Stoics taught us that we should focus on what we can control, on the cultivation of presence, virtue, and emotional regulation. And in doing so, we begin to sense things most people miss. That's what makes your compliment carry weight, because you're not reacting out of impulse or lust. You're observing, you're tuned in, you're grounded, and when you speak, it's not noise. It's signal, it lands. In today's fast-paced, distracted world, where dopamine-driven attention spans are short and conversations often stay surface level, a compliment that points to a woman's emotional effect is profoundly refreshing. It tells her that you're not just watching, you're witnessing. It shows that you're the kind of man who appreciates essence over appearance, meaning over momentary flattery. And let's be honest, in the age of social media filters and shallow validation, that's the kind of authenticity that sticks with someone. It lingers. It makes her think about you when the room clears and the lights go off. Because you didn't just notice her looks, you acknowledged her power. What's more, in doing this, you reinforce a kind of modern masculinity that's desperately needed, calm, centered, emotionally aware. Just like the Stoics who found strength in stillness and clarity in chaos, you position yourself not as a man desperate for attention, but as one who chooses his words carefully because he knows their value. And when you say, your smile lights up a room, you're reminding her, and maybe even yourself, that real impact doesn't need volume. It only needs truth. If you want to stand out, speak with intention. See what others miss. In a world of noise, be the signal. And if you believe in seeing beyond the surface, drop this in the comments right now. I witness her presence, not just her beauty. Compliment number 3. I love how real you are. You don't try to fit in. You're just you. In a world drowning in filters, not only the digital kind, but the masks people wear daily, authenticity has become a rare and revolutionary act. Everyone chases approval, molding themselves into what society demands. But you, the man who understands true power, recognize that authenticity is strength, not weakness. When you tell a woman this, you don't just hand out a shallow compliment. You acknowledge the courage it takes to be unapologetically oneself in a sea of facades. As Oscar Wilde once said, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." This is no empty phrase, but a call to honor what's real beneath the surface. In modern life, where instant gratification and curated personas dominate, the real prize is truth, the raw, unpolished truth of a person's soul. Women hear "you're beautiful" 1,000 times, but when you say "I admire your authenticity," you cut through the noise and reach what really matters. You affirm her true self, not the mask she wears for the world. That is magnetic. This is not about perfection. Realness can be messy, rough, and even uncomfortable, yet it's infinitely more powerful than flawless appearances. The Stoics taught us that aligning with truth, not trend, defines a man's strength. Marcus Aurelius urged us to be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. This is the Stoic mindset, solid, unshaken, real. When you see that same fearless authenticity in a woman, respect it fiercely. This compliment isn't kindness, it's honesty, an assertion that she needs no improvement because her genuine self is enough, more than enough. In a world that pressures us to conform, your recognition of her authenticity makes you stand out as a man of substance, a man of power. You command respect. You command attention. You command truth. Let this be your guide. Praise the real, reject the fake, and watch how your relationships deepen. Don't just like this message. Share it, comment with your own story of authenticity, and subscribe to claim your mastery of real connection. Remember, the man who honors truth wins, not by chance, but by choice. Be that man. Compliment number 4. I love the way you see the world. It's so unique. It really makes me think. It is not just a flattering statement, it's an invitation into intimacy at a level most men never even attempt to reach. We live in a world dominated by repetition, where far too many people are living in copy-paste mode, wearing the same styles, repeating the same catchphrases, following trends without question, and conforming to whatever society labels as normal. But every so often, you meet a woman who breaks that mold. She's not just existing, she's observing, reflecting, questioning. She sees layers where others see surfaces. And when you tell her that you admire the way she sees the world, you're not complimenting her looks, her clothes, or her charm. You're honoring her inner world, her rare lens, her thoughtful perspective, and the rich, often unseen terrain of her mind. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. When you recognise a woman for how her thoughts colour her world, you're acknowledging her soul. You're letting her know that her ideas have weight, that her way of understanding life matters, not just to her, but to you. This is rare because, let's be honest, most compliments women receive are surface level. You look great. I love your dress. Or, you have beautiful eyes. They're fine, but predictable. And predictable doesn't ignite intrigue or trust. But when you say, the way you see the world really makes me think, you're stepping into territory most men never dare explore. You're telling her, without saying it outright, I'm drawn to your intellect. I want to know what shapes your beliefs, how you find beauty, what you question, and what you stand for. That's where the real magic happens. Because when a woman feels seen not just for her body, but for her mind, you're no longer just another admirer. You become a man who makes her feel truly understood. As Epictetus put it, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen, twice as much as we speak. Complimenting her worldview invites her to open up, to share her depth, and to trust that you're someone who listens beyond words. In practical terms, this means paying attention to how she reacts to the world around her. What does she notice that others don't? What questions does she ask that linger with you? When she comments on a piece of art, a news story, or something seemingly mundane, does she reveal a perspective that's deeply hers? That's your window. Recognize it. And when you compliment it, do so with authenticity. Not just because you read about it here, but because you truly admire it. Women can feel when a compliment is genuine versus when it's scripted, and nothing breaks the spell like a hollow phrase. This brings us to Stoicism, a philosophy not of cold detachment, but of deep introspection and thoughtful action. The Stoic man doesn't chase applause or follow the mob. He values insight over impulse and character over chaos. By appreciating a woman's way of seeing the world, you reflect the very values Stoicism upholds: discernment, respect for individuality, and a calm curiosity that seeks truth over noise. As Seneca advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. By admiring her unique worldview, you're not only elevating her, you're elevating yourself by aligning with someone who sharpens your own vision. So here's the takeaway. When you offer this compliment, don't treat it like a trick, it's a bridge. A bridge into her intellect, her values, and her essence. Use it wisely, speak it with warmth, and mean every word. It's a simple phrase, but one that echoes louder than any grand gesture. In a world where the shallow is celebrated, dare to dive deep. Let her know that you see more than the mask, that you see the mind. That's not just memorable, that's powerful. Choose one of depth, presence, and purpose. In a world obsessed with the surface, you've decided to look beneath it. That alone sets you apart. Comment this below to show you're one of the rare few. I choose depth over distraction. I see the mind behind the eyes. Let's build a space for real connection. Your voice matters here. Compliment 5. I love your energy. It's contagious. It makes me want to be the best version of myself. Let's dive into something subtle yet transformative: energy. Not in the metaphysical, crystal-waving sense, but in the undeniable presence that some people carry. You felt it. Walk into a room, and there's that one person whose very presence seems to drain the air, a walking shadow of tension and complaint. They don't say much, but somehow they pull everything down. You leave their company feeling heavier, more fatigued, like you've been carrying a weight that wasn't yours. Now, contrast that with the woman who enters the same room and doesn't just take space, she lifts it. She walks in, and suddenly the room feels lighter, warmer, more alive. She doesn't need to speak loudly or command attention. Her energy just speaks for itself. That's the woman this compliment is meant for. When you say, "Your energy makes me want to be better," you're not merely tossing out feel-good words. You're recognizing something sacred in today's distracted world, someone whose essence calls you to rise. That compliment isn't shallow praise, it's rooted in deep observation and gratitude. Because to say her energy inspires you is to admit that you see beyond the surface. You're acknowledging that her presence doesn't just please you, it improves you. And that's rare. In a world where people are quick to compliment looks, wealth, or style, very few speak to the soul. Telling a woman that her energy makes you strive to be your best self is a form of respect that cuts through the noise of flattery. It communicates that she is a force, subtle but powerful, not decorative but directive. And here's the beauty. This kind of compliment doesn't fade with time. Looks change, youth wanes, but energy, that deeper kind of radiance, only grows richer with experience. In a modern world full of distractions and shallow connections, where social feeds are flooded with surface-level validation, this kind of compliment stands out like fire in the snow. It tells her she's more than fun, more than attractive. She's valuable in the deepest sense because she makes you want to evolve. And that's what the Stoics were getting at. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus. They weren't chasing comfort. They sought out what made them sharper, better, stronger. The Stoic man doesn't simply chase pleasure, he chases purpose. He doesn't fear discomfort if it leads to growth. And so, when he meets someone whose very being challenges him to be more disciplined, more alive, more intentional, he holds on. He doesn't just admire it, he honors it. In this way, telling a woman that her energy brings out your best is more than a romantic gesture. It's an acknowledgement of her rare power to influence. It's a nod to the fact that while the world is full of noise, she brings clarity. While others distract, she focuses you. And in a time when men are taught to hide their depth behind bravado, this kind of honest compliment is a quiet revolution. It sets you apart. It tells her, I don't just notice you, I'm changed by you. And that kind of recognition, that's the kind that sinks deep, the kind she remembers. So say it with full heart and calm confidence. I love your energy. It makes me want to be the best version of myself. Because when a woman hears that, she doesn't just feel beautiful, she feels significant. And to a woman who carries that kind of light, nothing is more magnetic. Compliment 6. You're honestly one of the most thoughtful people I've ever met. You really care about others, and it shows. Listen closely when you tell a woman, you're honestly one of the most thoughtful people I've ever met. You aren't just throwing out a casual compliment. You're cutting through the noise of this superficial world, flooded with empty praise and hollow gestures. In today's landscape, where everyone's vying for attention with fake personas and performative kindness, genuine thoughtfulness stands as a rare gem, an unshakable pillar of true character. You don't simply admire what she does, you recognize who she is at her core. You see the subtle details, the way she recalls the smallest things from past conversations, checks in when no one expects it, and selflessly makes others feel valued and seen. That, my friend, is not just kindness, that's strength. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. It's effortless to catch eyes with charm or impress with wit, but it takes a rare, powerful man to honor integrity, the foundation of real connection and respect. Thoughtful people don't just take up space, they nurture the energy around them, they protect it, and they elevate it. By calling out her thoughtfulness, you tell her plainly, I see your heart, I see your effort, I see your goodness. That hits deep, deep into her soul, beyond surface attraction, beyond fleeting compliments. This is a game changer in modern life, where so many men chase shallow wins. The Stoics teach us that virtue outweighs vanity, that character, not charm, is the true measure of a man's worth. When you speak from that place, you don't just flatter, you align yourself with timeless wisdom. You honor what she brings into the world, her empathy, her wisdom, her strength. And in doing so, you become a man who commands respect and admiration without demanding it. Women don't forget the man who recognizes their true value. They remember the one who sees beyond appearances, the one who acknowledges their soul. So take this moment to rise above the noise. Make this your weapon. Speak this truth boldly. Because in a world hungry for authenticity, being the man who honors genuine thoughtfulness is the ultimate power move. Now, if you're ready to own this truth and elevate your game, drop a comment below with your boldest statement about integrity and thoughtfulness. Like, share and subscribe for more no-nonsense wisdom that changes the game, because the world doesn't need more followers, it needs leaders who see. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. Compliment 7. I love how driven you are. Your sense of purpose is seriously inspiring. This isn't just a string of pretty words. It's a mirror held up to her inner world, one that reflects back her ambition, her grit, and the fire she wakes up with every morning. In an era where shortcuts are glorified and commitment is rare, this compliment strikes deep. It tells her, I see you. Not just the way you walk into a room, but the late nights you don't talk about, the sacrifices you've made when no one was looking. When you speak to her drive, you're not offering empty praise. You're recognizing the essence of who she is. You're aligning yourself with her purpose, and more importantly, you're respecting the cost of her ambition. Driven people, truly driven people, don't work for applause. They chase a vision, and when a woman feels genuinely seen in that light, it's electric. She's likely spent years hearing that she should slow down, compromise, or quiet down her goals. So when you tell her, your purpose inspires me, it doesn't just flatter her, it tells her she's not alone. It says, "I don't just accept your fire, I admire it." And here's where the wisdom of the Stoics comes in. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." A Stoic man, like you aim to be, recognizes that time is the most precious currency, and he doesn't squander it on idle pursuits. He gets up with purpose, with resolve, just like her. So when you recognize a woman's drive, it's not about romantic flattery, it's about resonance. You're not just acknowledging her goals, you're identifying her as someone walking the same path with the same intentional fire in her eyes. In a world where most people give up before the halfway mark, where attention spans are shorter than ever, telling a woman that you respect her focus is rare, and that rarity makes it powerful. As Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." By complimenting her purpose, you're not talking about values, you're living them. You're showing her that you understand what it means to struggle for something meaningful, to build rather than coast. And believe this, no amount of surface-level praise compares to someone recognizing the soul behind the effort. Real life isn't made of perfect moments or polished snapshots. It's made of grit, of long nights, and of people who keep showing up even when no one's clapping. When you look a woman in the eye and tell her you admire her drive, you're reaching into that space of authenticity. And that's where connection happens. If you want her to remember what you said years from now, speak to what most ignore. Respect her mission. Stand beside her as someone who understands the terrain of effort. This isn't about grand gestures, it's about powerful truth. So next time you see that fire in her, say it. Mean it. Be the man who doesn't just compliment beauty, but ambition, resilience, and soul. That's what makes words unforgettable. Compliment number 8. You have this incredible way of making people feel comfortable and truly valued. There's a kind of quiet power that doesn't scream for attention, doesn't demand the spotlight, and doesn't rely on charm or good looks. It simply is. This is the power of emotional intelligence, a force as subtle as it is transformative. It's not the loudest voice in the room or the flashiest personality. It's the calm in the storm, the person who makes others feel seen, heard, and at ease just by their presence. Telling a woman that she has this ability is not just a compliment. It's a recognition of something rare and deep, something profoundly human. You're not just pointing out that she's socially adept, you're seeing her soul, acknowledging the peace she brings into a chaotic world, and letting her know that you notice what most people overlook. That's meaningful, because in today's fast-moving, hyper-connected world, true connection is almost a lost art. We're surrounded by noise, by performance, by people more interested in broadcasting than understanding. Yet every now and then, someone walks into your life who doesn't try to impress you, they simply make you feel safe. And when you highlight that in a compliment, when you say, "You have this incredible way of making others feel comfortable," you're telling her that her presence is a refuge, that in her company, others don't need to perform or protect themselves. They can breathe. And that's no small thing, especially in a culture where people are constantly on edge, guarded, or chasing validation. That level of emotional presence, it's medicine, it heals, it softens, it makes people better. And in that way, it's deeply, quietly powerful. The ancient Stoics, men like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, would have seen this as a virtue of the highest order. For them, wisdom wasn't just knowing things, it was living well, with empathy, self-mastery, and a commitment to serving others. They spoke of the value of sympathia, the deep interconnection of all beings, and emphasized understanding over judgment, listening over speaking. When you compliment a woman for her emotional intelligence, you're not handing out flattery. You're honoring her capacity to live in line with these timeless values. You're recognizing that she holds space for others, that she doesn't just exist, she uplifts. And here's where it matters most for modern men, especially those navigating life from 35 to 70. At this stage, we've seen enough to know what's superficial and what lasts. We've made our mistakes, played the games, and hopefully begun to seek substance. Complimenting a woman in this way isn't about getting her attention. It's about giving yours to what truly matters. It's about acknowledging that in a world full of performers, she's a presence. And presence, real, grounded, healing presence, is unforgettable. So the next time you meet a woman whose company leaves you calmer, whose energy lifts the room without trying, tell her. Look her in the eye and say, "You make people feel seen and safe." In doing so, you're not only appreciating her, you're rising to meet her. And that, gentleman, is the kind of compliment that doesn't just impress, it endures. Compliment number 9. Talking to you feels like peace. It's like I can finally just breathe. Let that sink in. Let it thunder in your chest. Because this isn't just a line, it's a revelation. In a world screaming for attention, full of empty words, fake smiles, and endless noise, peace is not only rare, it's sacred. When a man says this to a woman, he isn't complimenting her charm, her wit, or her looks. He's telling her something far more powerful. You silence the chaos inside me. You still the battlefield in my mind. Understand this. True peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of clarity, calm, and connection in the middle of it all. And when you find that in a woman, not noise, not ego, not drama, but clarity, you found something men go a lifetime searching for. This compliment, delivered with sincerity, cuts through the fluff. It bypasses every filter society has trained her to use, every shield she's built from years of shallow encounters. It tells her, "You are my sanctuary, my moment of truth, my place to breathe when the weight of the world becomes too much." And that hits different. It's not lust. It's not game. It's not manipulation. It's real. It's primal. It's stoic. Because a stoic man doesn't chase thrill. He seeks stillness. Not because he's weak, but because he's fought enough battles to know what truly matters. Like Seneca once wrote, "No man was ever wise by chance." Peace is the reward of the man who has done the inner work, the man who has bled in silence, conquered his demons, and now knows the value of a woman who brings ease to his spirit. This compliment is not for boys playing games. It's for the grounded man, the man who leads, who provides, who protects, but still yearns for that one voice, that one presence that doesn't demand anything from him, except his truth. When you look into a woman's eyes and say, "Talking to you feels like peace," you are telling her she doesn't have to compete, perform, or impress. Her being is enough. Her essence is your exhale. You make her feel safe being soft. And in a world that demands women be hard to survive, that kind of space is transformational. She'll never forget the man who gave her permission to be still. And she'll chase that peace just like you do. Because deep down, we all want it, but few know how to give it, and fewer still know how to honor it when they find it. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about romantic fluff. This is about high-level emotional intelligence. It's psychological. It's timeless. This is about anchoring her emotionally to a state she craves, relief. When you associate your presence with relief, with freedom, with peace, you stop being just another man. You become the one her soul remembers, the one who saw through her, not with hungry eyes but with stillness. You became a mirror, a refuge, a lighthouse. That's why she comes back. That's why she opens up. That's why she stays. In the chaos of modern life, where men are told to perform, dominate, hustle, and win, be the one who values stillness, who treasures serenity, who honors presence. That's what separates the powerful from the noisy. That's what makes a man unforgettable. So when you meet that woman, the one who quiets your storms, who doesn't trigger your armor but melts it, don't stay silent. Tell her, say the words, lock eyes and speak them with weight. Talking to you feels like peace. Let it land, let it echo. She won't forget it, because no woman forgets the moment she realized she didn't have to fight to be loved. Now, if you've ever felt that peace from someone, don't let it pass. Make your move. Comment below. She is my calm in the storm. Claim it. Declare it. Don't wait for the world to understand. Just act. And if you want more raw, real, no BS wisdom that sets you apart from 99% of men out there, hit that like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. This isn't just content. This is strategy. This is mindset. This is how powerful men connect. And there you have it, 8 compliments that go way beyond surface-level flattery. But more importantly, 8 principles for how to speak with heart. Because this isn't just about what you say to a woman, it's about how you see her. That's the real power here. These compliments only work if they come from a place of authenticity, of presence, of truly appreciating the woman in front of you, not as someone to impress, but as someone to connect with. Anyone can throw out sweet words. What sets you apart is intention. And when you bring that intention into your words, when you stop trying to perform and start trying to connect, that's when things shift. That's when conversations become chemistry. That's when words start to mean something. Now listen, this is where most people stop. They think learning a few lines is enough. But if you're watching this far, I know you're different. You're here because you're not looking for shortcuts. You're looking to grow, to show up with more clarity, more presence, and more emotional intelligence in your relationships. So here's my sincere advice to you from everything we've covered. Let your words reflect your awareness. Compliments should never be decorations. They should be reflections of truth. When you notice a woman's thoughtfulness, her work ethic, her creativity, her quiet strength, and you name it, you're telling her, I see something in you that the world often overlooks. That's rare. That's powerful. That's unforgettable. And here's something even deeper. The way you speak to others is a mirror of how you think, how you feel, and how grounded you are in yourself. These compliments, when used right, aren't just about making someone else feel special. They're about reminding yourself of the kind of man you want to be. Present, intentional, and deeply connected to what matters. So take this seriously. Practice it. Live it. Let your words carry weight, not because they're flashy, but because they're real. Before you go, do the 3 things that keep this community growing. Like this video, hit subscribe, and leave a comment below. If you really listened today, type, "Words have power, and I know how to use them." That's your signal to me and to yourself that you're not here to play small. You're here to master something that most men overlook, the art of genuine connection. Because we're not here to be average. We're not here to fake charm or chase attention. We're here to speak with purpose, to connect with depth, and to build relationships that are based on mutual respect and real emotion, one intentional word at a time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time, your attention, and your desire to grow. Take care of yourself. Speak with clarity. Lead with presence. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.